Happy Monday, September 8th already. Are you, if you're like me, are you already thinking about the holidays? Truthfully, already thinking about the holidays, thinking about Thanksgiving and Christmas. Not a big, okay, so I'm going to start off with this. I'm not a huge Halloween fan. But that's to come. I never was, even when I was little, wasn't a huge Halloween fan. But moved to a small town in Ohio, or any small town. Now I thought it was just our town, but it's like all small towns in Ohio. They do not, if Halloween falls on a weeknight, normally they will not celebrate until either before or after. Seriously. And I thought this was kind of cool. Correct me if I'm wrong. It may just be an Ohio thing. We may ask our guest. It's Mondays with Molly. She's coming up in just a little bit. We're going to talk to her. Hey, listen, I want to give a shout out. I know he doesn't watch, but that's okay. Thanks to Miles Holiday. I got to be on the fan over the weekend and hang out and talk sports. Of course, I love talking about sports and talking about life, talking about travel. That's really what we do on the morning break. And the morning break, in case, ladies and gentlemen, this is your first time, the morning break is in my head. The vision that's up in this big noggin, and it is a big head. It looks even bigger on TV than it is in real life. It is huge, my big noggin. But up in this big noggin, I forgot what I was going to talk about. Can you believe that? I have two stories that are crashing together here, and I forgot. So, welcome to my world. We were talking about holidays. I have no idea. Molly's going to have to help me out here in the next segment, because obviously it must be Monday, and I must be feeling like I need a break from things. We'll talk about to Molly in a little bit, but I want to talk about a couple things. One, with fall, of course, you think about the Albuquerque Balloon Fest that's coming up, and if you've never been, you need to go. It's coming up in Albuquerque. Now, here's what they're saying. It is growing again in popularity, kind of waned there for a few years, but is back and better than ever. And that is kind of cool. And I'm excited for that. It's a beautiful event. If you've never been, you need to go. And of course, it was the start of football season, really the kickoff weekend of football. And yes, college football was already in full swing. And I love this story. Kent Broussard, and if you haven't seen the story, he's 66 years old. Kent went back to LSU, and he wanted to be in the band. He's a freshman at LSU. He had a great career in the accounting world, but he'd always wanted to be in the LSU marching band. So congratulations to Kent. He was 66 years old. It tells you something, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that you can never give up on your dreams. Still can't figure out what it was I was going to talk about. What was I going to talk about? It's right here. I got my whole list here. I got stuff going on. Oh, who knows? What were we talking? Halloween. Is it different? Then we're talking about Miles Holiday. He doesn't listen to the show, but had a great time there on the fan. That was a lot of fun over the weekend. If you didn't catch it, nobody listens to Miles' show. Anyway, that was the joke during the show. But yeah, he going back to this story really quick, because this is something that's kind of interesting to me just before we come out of this break. He was 66 years old. He had a full career, family, the whole thing. And he retired, and this is one of his goals. So he enrolled at LSU, and he had been an accountant for his career, and he wanted to play the tuba for the LSU marching band, and he got to do it. And when he was asked, and I love this because, and we'll talk to Molly about this, because this is a business thing. The only thing that can happen is you're going to fail. It's not like it's going to be the worst thing in the world. He said, but his real thing that he took with him as he went to try out was, if you don't try, you're going to fail. Wayne Gretzky had a thing. You're going to miss every shot that you don't take. So I love that. Hey, listen, it is fall. You need coffee. I need coffee. Got coffee here. No, it's been washed. It's the same cup. I love this cup. It's my Savannah cup. I think everybody should have a favorite cup. This is my Savannah cup from earlier this year. We were in Savannah. It's filled with 7 Weeks coffee. 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10. Hey, when you go and order coffee, and let me recommend ordering a lot of coffee. It is fall. It's going to be cold most parts of the country. We woke up this morning, it was 47 degrees in Ohio. 47. Hadn't been that cold in a long time. Actually came very close to setting a record for lows this early in September, which scares me to think where we're going to be. But back to the coffee. You're going to need some warm coffee. Everybody needs some warm coffee. This is the dark roast that I've been really vibing on. And instead of ordering like all the different kinds next time, I'm just ordering dark roast. I don't know. I think it's age. 7 Weeks Coffee. Go to 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10 when you order. We appreciate it. After the break, it's Mondays with Molly.
Behind every precious life, there was a choice. Behind every family moment, behind every special memory, there was a choice. A life of joy. A life that is beautifully and wonderfully made. At 7 Weeks Coffee, we are funding the pro-life movement, one cup at a time. Will you let your coffee serve a greater purpose?
Great, folks. It's 7 Weeks Coffee. Remember, use the promo code ATV10 when you order. And we appreciate it so much. We appreciate the great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee and all that they're doing. It is time for Mondays with Molly. Good morning, Molly.
Good morning. We got to start off with some good just energy. Let's go. It's Monday.
It's Monday. Have you ever done this? Okay, because Molly's been on TV before. Have you ever done this where you have no idea where you were going with a story? And that was where I was in the start. And I don't know. I looked down, had 2 stories there, had no idea where I was going. That's what happens when you also have to produce the show yourself. And so, and which also Molly probably understands, because Molly worked at some stations that were like I was, where you are the talent, you're also the camera person, the editor, and the copywriter all in one. It is one person. You do it all. But it is Monday morning. Molly is here. Mondays with Molly. And right now it's unofficially every 2 weeks, but we're working on Molly. We'll see where we get her at some point. We're hoping to get Mondays with Molly every Monday. I don't think she can put up with me quite that much, so we're not going to do that. But she has a great story. And she's the first of our writers for our faith and business section on the website, and she has a brand new article out this morning on the website. And talk a little bit without giving the whole article away. And I love what you said here about faith and being an entrepreneur. Talk a little bit about that, like your struggles personally.
Oof. I mean, there's so much I could give away. And honestly, with those articles, it's like you just get like a little snippet. Like you can go so much deeper into it, just a little snippet. But when you think about being an entrepreneur, starting something on your own, going out, creating, I mean, you're faced with, you have to be the one that creates the thing. People automatically, they're like, well, what if I get met with rejection if somebody doesn't accept it? What else in there? Gosh, I'm trying to think of just some like top cliff notes. Even to just constantly just growing yourself and your business. All of those pieces are exactly in our faith walk too. We get to grow in our faith. We get to, maybe it's not creating something, because obviously like Jesus, we get to have salvation in him. So we don't really have to create anything. We just get to abide and be in his presence and really be able to soak and absorb. But the thing that I love about the creativity part is we are connected to the ultimate creator. divine strategy, divine revelation, like things that can come into play that can make your business, your life, your faith better than it's ever been at this point in time. So I love to talk about how you really can't do one without the other. You really can't, because there's a belief of, I'm going to do this. I can't see it, or maybe you can, but you can't predict the future. You're not you can't do that. So ultimately, at the end of the day, like, you really have to ask, okay, where is this going? Do I believe I can get there? And then what are the next action steps in order for me to get there? And so they really just go side by side. And I've definitely have dove in way deeper in my faith walk with the Lord because of being an entrepreneur, because there's moments of like, I can't do this. I can't do this. Like, I've said that many times. However, I can. It's just a matter of peeling back and not acting in my own strength.
And I think it's perfect what your analogy for our faith. A lot of times as entrepreneurs, we don't see everything.
Hmm.
And with our faith, people say, well, I can't see this. I need it to be tangible. And you're like, yeah, the same thing though with our faith and with business. Sometimes when you're an entrepreneur, you don't see, I mean, you're in your head, you see it, but it's not even on paper yet. And I think that is so cool.
Yes.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Got a couple.
Yes.
First one, are you a reader? Do you like to read?
I am becoming a better reader. I have read more in the last couple years than I ever have, and that's including school.
Well, I didn't read in school, so we're not even going to go there. That was I just went in and took tests. Professor, well, I tell you how bad it was. I had a professor who asked me if I was in his class. He was like, I
That's
walked in
pretty
to
bad.
take the test, and he was like, "So are you in this class?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I've never seen you." I sit in the back, which it was a big class, and I did. So just for clarification, so people don't think I lied, I did take in a few classes that semester. A few, I think it was a handful. It may not have been very many, but I was there a few times.
Just a few.
But no, I think and the reason I brought that up is entrepreneurs, I think you need to read. I think you need to start and I know this because I have this problem a lot is and it's an excuse is I don't have time to.
That's right.
Let me tell you something, the thing I've really learned in the last few years, and probably the last 5, is it's amazing how your mind calms down when you read something, even in business, and you go, "Ooh, I need that." And especially I'm big into entrepreneurs that have a faith background, and so I'll do that. So that's my first question. Have you been to the, Albuquerque Balloon Festival? That's my second one, because that was one of our stories today.
I have not. I have heard great things. I know it's stunning out there, but I have never been to a balloon festival actually at all. So that is
Would
something that has to be on the bucket list.
Okay, would you go up in a hot air balloon?
I will do you one better. I actually did a live segment on a morning show that I used to be on in a hot air balloon. We went live up in a hot air balloon and we had to keep testing it because it kept going out of service. So, yes, I have gone on hot air balloon and I went live from it on TV.
Oh, see, that's cool. And unfortunately, the television part is what always gets us hoodwinked into doing dumb things. We like, I may or may not have gone down about 150-foot slide.
Mm,
Those potato slide things, remember that they have at the fair? Yeah,
yes, the
I
sacks.
did
Yeah.
that. That was not fun. I'm scared of heights. So a balloon
Mm.
to me, I had to put my foot down. We did a remote from a festival in Washington, and I put my foot down because your producer, hey, we're gonna get the shot in the basket, and I'm like, hey, you're gonna have to hire somebody else because I'm not
Oh.
doing it. Oh yeah,
Well,
so
I've not only have I done a hot air balloon, I convinced a guy somehow, an older gentleman, like a grandpa age gentleman, to let me fly his Cessna plane live on television, and he was there with me. So I flew a plane, I paraglided, and then those are probably my top three where it's just kind of like, whoa, you know. So I've done all three of those where I was just, you have to add some kind of a thrill in the morning unless it's breaking news or you're eating. So I was either eating, doing something thrilling, or there's breaking news of death and destruction. I was one of the three.
it's one of the three. And so, hey, I want to ask you a question because that I take my life and business almost quarterly. And that's why a lot of times when I talk about like holidays and stuff, it's because to me that kind of rings true in business too. Are you a and this is one of the things I want to talk with a lot of business people about, because I have an odd thing, because I'm and I get teased about this. I write things, like physically write things down in a planner. I still do that. I am one of those people, and I get made fun of like all the time because I like the feeling of writing. See, Molly's the same way. But here's my plan for my ask of you, and see where you're at, and see if I'm just totally different than everybody. But do you do like a 3-month plan besides like your daily planner? Do you have like goals that you write in your planner that you look at like maybe weekly, monthly? I'm one of those people. I will write down things, and I've got a couple. Like for this show, and Molly probably has heard a little bit about this, but I did not want to do this. I have so many other projects going on in my life that this was like not something I wanted to do. And I really fought God on this one for like a year. Um, and then Molly and I talked about coaching, and I went, where people need coaching, they need it in like podcasting, and they need it in this area, which is some of the stuff that my company does. And I went, I could do a show people that you can be stupid on camera, and people may actually watch. And so my question goes back to is we drove the boat all over the ocean. Yes, the question is, how often do you write your goals, and do you have like from now until January 1st goals? Because that's kind of what I do. I break it up, because with my company, we kind of take off a couple of weeks in December. So really it's September, October, November, and then December's kind of
Yeah, I would say, yeah, December, same. It's like pretty much mid-November, people just cut out and they're out till the end of Christmas. And then that last week right after Christmas, like going into the new year, they're like, oh shoot, we gotta like do all these things. But I look at, yeah, I definitely, I guess I don't write it down, but mentally I look at, yeah, quarter per quarter, because there are gaps. There's a summer gap, there's a holiday gap. And then, pretty much January through, I would say May is like solid. Then you start going into summer and graduation and all of that. So yes, my goals are like up here locked in of like, here are the different things I want to reach, whether it's a marriage goal, something that we're working on or doing together, a business goal, a personal goal, all the above. And so I like the fact that there is so much science behind writing it down physically. That's why I have a paper journal mixed with digital journals, mixed with sticky notes, like, because I'm constantly writing things down and just like pouring it out. So I don't fault you at all for wanting to have something physical where you can look at. I mean, why do they do vision boards?
I
Like,
can't show the other side because it's got somebody's credit card on it, but you can see this side of my post-it notes.
Oh, please turn it around.
Yes, so that the world can see the credit card from one of my clients who I wrote on a post-it note. Yes.
Don't do that. That will become a refund real quick.
Yes, it please. So here's I want to talk. I know you're kind of right now transitioning in life. You transitioned with your move. Give some advice to people that are transitioning like you are. What would be like 2 or 3 things to keep yourself centered as an entrepreneur during transition?
Well, I can honestly say I've heard from so many people outside of myself that transition is happening for many physical locations. I've seen so many people move, but it's kind of like when you buy a car and then you see your car that you're buying or you want to buy everywhere. I guess my brain is like hyper fixated on I'm seeing so many people move, so it could be that. But I also know there actually are quite a few people that are just, okay, well, I guess we need to uproot and go. It's just in obedience, like, yes, Lord, I'm going to do it. Or even professional pivots, right? Like visions have changed, or you just know you need to do something different. Or because a lot of people are ignoring those signs of we need to change, and everybody wants change, but they're scared to do it. You have to like rip off that Band-Aid, right? Nobody wants to rip off a Band-Aid because it hurts, it's sticky, it's like, ugh, it's uncomfortable. But once you do it, the sting lasts for a second and then you move on. But knowing that we're never alone and God is always with us, there's really nothing to be afraid of. Coming into moving from California to Nevada, I never thought I'd leave California. And I had a lot of things that came up. And even during the moving process, the last 2 weeks up until our move, there was a lot coming up. And I was like, wow, apparently there's a lot of these little micro pockets of fear that the enemy was trying to get in and poke at and just, trying to just get me to whatever, pay attention to that rather than the promise on the other side. And we know why we moved here to Nevada, primarily for my husband's career. He's a creative director. He's a videographer, ton of opportunity here. I know it's going to be much more than that, but that was like the initial, like, we're going to move for this. And then seeing other things unfold, you never know of what you're praying for could be on the other side of that. Yes, of that change, of that new thing. And yes, doing something new, you get out of your routine and you have to recreate your routine. Kind of even back to your 3-month goals of what we're doing, I have to completely recreate mine. Just because of my professional pivot that I had within the last 30, 45 days, my physical moving pivot. So there was a lot of things that pivoted on my behalf really quickly, all at the same time. And it was like, whoa. At the same time, I get excited because I'm like, okay, Lord, you're doing something real and something new, and I'm here for it. And I don't need to see every single step of the staircase. I just want to be in step with you so I can hold whatever you're about to give me.
And I think for entrepreneurs, it was a word you said in there about fear. And I think the devil uses fear so much, and especially for entrepreneurs, because you're out there without there is no net.
No
When you're
parachute.
an entrepreneur, no parachute, nothing. It's not like when you work for a company and you can like mess up and they just fire you and you can go get another job. Like and especially, and I think for Molly and I, when we look at this stuff, it's like, this is our life. I mean, it does intersect with everything else. People look at that as our identity. And I think that's it can get scary. And I deal a lot with that, and I deal with fear. Fear is one of those things that, because fear paralyzes you, it can take you. And I was telling my wife this over the weekend. It's like, if I get messed up in an area in business, I might as well go have lunch, because it's not happening. I'm not concentrating right now. It isn't anything happening.
Yes.
Right? I mean, isn't that the way it is?
Well, when you know yourself and you know what, I'm going to need a second. I need to take a beat and not go beyond this barrier so I can like regroup rather than try to muscle through it. That was a big hurdle I had to learn of, what, like, here's where I know one example, I found my most productive hours of the day, and know that I need to get my non-negotiables for my business done. And when I learned how to do that, I most likely, minus client work, I most likely finish my day by noon. So I have the whole rest of the day, do whatever I want to pour into myself, to pour into my bucket. Some days are longer than others, but most days, and I work like 4 days a week, I am done by 12. And so because I know how to punch in and do it, but before then, when I just left it to chance, fear crept in. I'm not doing enough. What's happening? What's going on? Instead of buckling down and really focusing. But like you said, when you have those moments, you're like, you know what? This is just, it's not it. You just know you got to get up from the chair and go do something else, and maybe fresh like creativity or just a break will do it for you.
I put worship music on. I'll just take a break, walk around my house, put some worship music on, and just get in that moment. Because otherwise you can sit there and put yourself in a bad, dark place for a long time. And that's not good either. Hey, it's Mondays with Molly. Thank you so much. And go check out her new article. It's up today on the website, abundanttv.com. We will see Molly again in 2 weeks, which, by the way, is right before my birthday. I'm expecting her to send me a cake. We'll do that at that time. When we come back, it's my final thought after this.
Social media today is noisy, divided, and too often hostile to Christian values, a place where truth is twisted and faith is often silenced. What if there was a place for believers where you could share your story, grow in your faith, and be encouraged every day? Introducing Acts Social, the #1 Christ-centered social platform built to unite Christians worldwide in truth, hope, and love. Share your faith openly. Discover powerful, uplifting content. Join prayer groups. Encourage others. Find news and events from a biblical worldview all in one place. And do it all free from big tech censorship. invasive tracking, and endless ads. Because the body of Christ was never meant to be scattered. It was meant to be together, every day, everywhere. ActsSocial.com, the fastest growing platform for Christ-centered connection. Join us and be part of something eternal.
Hey, time for a final thought here. Thanks to Molly for hanging out with us. Remember to check out her article, brand new article on the website at abundanttv.com. She is amazing, part of our new Faith in Entrepreneurs series. And again, thanks for being with us, Molly. It's Mondays with Molly. Haven't talked her into every week yet, but that's okay. We have other great guests coming up. This week's going to be a lot of fun. Got some interesting stuff happening. Got a special guest tomorrow. And hey, we want to thank the great folks at Act Social. We haven't talked about them. You know, sometimes social media can get to be completely just overrun with stuff you don't want to see. And that's why a great faith-based social media platform like Act Social is so important. In fact, it's so important that my wife and I decided to be corporate sponsors. Abundant TV, along with Chick-fil-A and Hobby Lobby, are your sponsors for this fantastic social media platform. Go to axsocial.com. That's axsocial.com. When you go, hey, go and follow me. I would love to interact with you. It's always fun. Plus, join our abundant group that is available there on Axe Social. Man, where has this Monday gone? I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've had fun. I just am so blessed. And like I mentioned during Molly's segment, hey, if you're thinking about starting a podcast and you're looking for somebody to talk to about it, my company does that. We do all kinds of consulting when it comes to media. In fact, I have over 25 years doing that. And so I appreciate you. Man, it has been an amazing day. Incredible day. Checking out the scores. By the way, Jason, during this segment, he texted me. He wanted me to tell you he won in fantasy football. We'll I'm sure talk about that on Thursday. There are the games on the scroll. By the way, today as we close out, it is Star Trek Day. You're saying, Rob, that does not matter to me. And I totally understand that. It doesn't matter to everybody, but it is National Star Trek Day. By the way, on September 8th, 1966 is when the show started. That was when the pilot was released. To be honest with you, I did not catch that early. I was not around yet, but I did catch it in reruns with my dad. That was one of those things that he loved. It was actually a show that he found very fascinating because it melded kind of, stuff that was out there with science. And my dad was a big science person. And so he loved that. And it was his thing. And so, we always, I think, kind of are drawn to those kind of things. Quick look at the weather around the country. 5 of the city picks, as we're calling them, that we talk about. Chicago, this is a great time of year to go to Chicago. Just so you know. And I'm not getting paid by the tourism thing. Not at all. Tuesday, got a special guest tomorrow on the show. It's crazy to think that we're into week 3 of doing this. Is it perfect? Heavens no. Is it where I want it to be a year from now? No. But let me encourage you about something. Every journey in life has to start somewhere. Everything I've ever done has never been perfect when it started. Never. Not even close to being perfect. But I think, and this is why I love to talk about this. This is why I think it's important to start. So you're thinking about starting a podcast, TV show, anything like that, I'd love to help you. Shoot me a message. We'll talk. I love talking about this stuff. It is in my blood. I do. There are just things in life that I love, and television and radio, and producing those and putting them out there for people to see is always so much fun. Hey man, I encourage you to go out and live an amazing Monday. What's left of it? It is still a lot of time left. What is it? It's 11 o'clock. How can you beat that? Great rest of your day. Go knock some of it out and come back and join me tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. right here on this special platform for the morning break.